Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Canvas Training for Students webinar. My name is Ginny McGee, and I'm an instructional designer in the e-learning division here at Camden County College. I'm going to go over today how to get into Canvas, how to access your courses, your course materials. We'll look at how to submit assignments, take quizzes, participate in discussions, all of those good things that you'll be doing if you are taking an online class, and even if you're taking a face-to-face class, will probably be used by your instructors. So welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to have you here. All right, so this is our e-learning team. Just to start us off, we've got Dr. Chad is our dean. This is me, Jenny McGee, and Rich Cummings is the other instructional designer in the e-learning division. And you can contact any or all of us through this email address here, elearning@camdencc.edu. We all check it all the time. And it's the fastest way to get an answer to a question. And if it's not us that can answer it for you, we can usually figure out who can help you. I want to start off by talking about how to access the My CCC portal and Canvas. So probably you have already done this or you would not be part of this webinar right now. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but if there is anyone in here who has not yet accessed the portal, you should have received an email to your personal email address that you used when you enrolled from our Office of Information Technology that has your information on how to get to your student email account and also how to get to the portal. And so you definitely need to make sure that you can access your student email account. That's where all of the communications from the college, financial aid, all of those offices will contact you. So please make sure that you do check it at least every once in a while so that you know if there's any communications for you from the college. So once you are in the MyCCC portal, I always like to let students know that if you've been in the portal, you've seen that you get an authentication code every time you log in. You get a different authentication code. And if you are more than 15 minutes without clicking on anything in the portal, you have to log in again. But I do want to show you that there is a place where if you want to get your codes sent to your cell phone or have that option, you can do that in the portal. In the upper right-hand corner, you will see your initials, and then you will click on that and you'll see My Account at the very top. Now, for some reason, it sometimes takes about a minute for this to load. So if you click on your initials in the drop-down menu, you don't immediately see My Account. Give it a minute and then refresh your screen and it'll be there. So if you click on My Account, that's going to take you to your account recovery settings, and your email address is going to be in there, your student email address, your personal email address, whatever you used when you registered. You can have the code go to either of those places. But if you click on this phone recovery tab, that's going to take you to where you can put a cell phone number in so that you can get those codes sent to you via text rather than email if you choose. And I like to do it that way. It's a little bit faster. And also it means that I don't have to be logged into my email to get a code every time I need to get into the portal. So, of course, once you are into the portal, most of our time today we are going to be talking about Canvas. And so you would click on the Canvas icon, and that's where you will access your courses and your course materials. Now, if you do have any issues getting into the MyCCC portal or your student email, if you put in the wrong password to your student email account 3 times, you may get locked out, and you can always contact the help desk for any login issues. And this contact information is, of course, on the website, but I do like to share it here in case anyone needs it. You can email them or you can call them, and they can help you get into either the portal or your email, whatever it is that you're having trouble with. All right, so we're going to take a look at Canvas itself in just a moment, but first I have a couple things that I want to talk about as far as getting the best experience with using Canvas. So Canvas works with most browsers, but Chrome is the one that is recommended by the people at Canvas, and that's the one that we use here in the e-learning division. We've generally found that you get the best experience if you use Chrome as your browser. But if you prefer Firefox or Edge, you can use either of those. Just try to make sure that you do keep your browser updated so that you have the best experience when you're accessing Canvas. One important thing that I always try to mention, please do not use Safari when accessing Canvas. If you're a Mac user, you can download Chrome onto your Mac and it will work just fine. Safari, for whatever reason, it'll work perfectly fine 95% of the time, but at some point you're going to be missing a button that you need to click, or something's not going to load correctly. And 99% of the time when I get an email or a phone call from someone with that issue, I check their browser and they're using Safari. So just download Chrome onto your Mac product if that's what you use, and it'll work just fine when you're accessing Canvas. If you do have an issue where you're not seeing something you think you should be seeing, or you're getting a 400 error, try clearing your browser history. Even with Chrome and Edge, occasionally you may still have something like that happen. So try clearing your browser or switching to a different browser, see if you still have that issue. If not, it means that it is your browser and you probably do need to clear your browsing history. There is a Canvas app on Android and iOS that you can use. However, please do not try to take your online class on your mobile device. The app is great for communicating with your instructor, keeping up with your grades, reading course materials when you are not at your computer, but it is not meant to try to take an entire online class on. You will have issues if you're trying to submit all your assignments and take all your tests on the app. It's just not robust enough to do everything that you're going to need to do in an online class. So feel free to use it to keep up with communications and things like that. But for papers and tests, please use a computer. All right, so I want to talk briefly about the First Day Textbook Program. Probably 2/3 of our courses here at CCC are part of what is called the First Day Textbook Program. And what that means is that you have paid for your course materials as part of your tuition, and you have access to them ideally on the very first day of class, which is why it's called First Day. So you will access your course materials through Canvas, and the way that looks and how that operates depends on what the publisher is that your course is using, also what type of course materials there are. So when you log into your course, if it's a first day course, you can first look for the first day course materials link on the left-hand side. And when you click on that, it's going to pull up a screen that looks something like this. And you should see the textbook name, maybe the author. And you will see up until probably 2 weeks after courses start, you will see this want to opt out button. Now, unless your instructor has specifically said that it's fine to do that, which I don't know of any cases where that happens, please do not click that button. What will happen if you do that is that you will get a refund for your course materials, but then you also will not have access to your ebook. And even beyond that, a lot of courses don't just use an ebook, they also use what's called courseware. And that includes online activities, videos, assessments like quizzes and assignments. And you won't have access to any of that, and you won't be able to complete assignments that come with that courseware, which means you really won't be able to participate in the course. So beyond this, you're going to want to look for instructions from your professor in the course on how to access your first day course materials, because again, it can look different depending on who the publisher is. So in this case, this is course materials from McGraw-Hill. And so this is probably one of our most common publishers. And if you have a McGraw-Hill course, when you click on this McGraw-Hill link in the left-hand navigation menu of your course, you're going to see a registration button pop up, and you'll need to click complete registration, and then you will be asked to register. Always make sure that you use your Camden County College student email address when you're asked to provide an email address. That is how the publisher knows who you are and that you already paid for your course materials. If you use a different email address, you may be asked to pay for your course materials, and that causes a whole other issue that the bookstore has to straighten out. The easiest thing is if you click on your first day course materials and you get a read now button. That means that it is just an ebook. There are not courseware going along with the book. So you would just click the read now button and your textbook would open up in another tab on your computer. Pearson is one of the few that will require an access code. So when you click on the first day course materials link, you will see, if you have a Pearson course, you will see a button that says reveal access code. Click reveal access code. A code will pop up for you that you will need to copy. And then when you click on the Access Pearson link, you'll see the Open Pearson button come up. And that's where you'll need to put in your username and password. If you've never used a Pearson account at CCC before, you'll have to create a new one. And you'll click Link Accounts. And then you'll be asked to put your access code in. And that access code you will have gotten from the first day course materials tab. You'll put that code in, and then you won't have to do that more than once. You just do that the first time, and then from then you can always access your course materials through Canvas. So again, that can look a little complicated or overwhelming, but your instructor should provide directions for you in the course. If you have trouble getting to your course materials, you don't see the first day tab, or you don't see a publisher link, and you have no idea how to access your course materials, reach out to us in elearning@camdencc.edu, and we can generally help you to figure out if it is a first day course, first of all, and then if it is, what you need to do to access your course materials. This is the bookstore information as well. They can also often help you if you have issues, since even the online course materials are facilitated and maintained through Barnes & Noble. And there is a bookstore on the Blackwood campus, and there is also one on the Camden campus. And I just have their contact information and the dates here. You can get this right from the website. That's where I got this information. So if you just go to Camden County College's webpage, camdencc.edu, and you can just go to, here's their website, or just search for bookstore on the Camden County College webpage, and you will come up with this information. So you can always contact the bookstore managers, and they'll be able to assist you if you have any issues with your online ebooks or with a book that you have to purchase directly from the store. All right, one more last thing before we take a look at Canvas, and that is Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor. Some of our courses, maybe half of them, use what is called Respondus, and it is a custom browser that locks down and monitors the testing environment within Canvas. So if you have a course that is using this, your instructor should let you know that this is something that you will be using in the course, and they will give you a link that will give you the download for Lockdown Browser. So you'll have to download it onto your computer and install it. And then when you are taking an exam, you will use the Lockdown Browser to access your exam, and it will not allow any other applications or windows to be open on your device other than the testing window. And If the instructor is also using the monitor piece, it will also use your webcam and microphone to record you while you're taking the exam. And it is a academic integrity software, so it's discouraging cheating. And again, your instructor will give you directions and a link on how to download the Lockdown browser and how to use it. But again, if you have questions, you can always reach out to us in e-learning if you're having trouble with it. We can help you, or we can open a ticket or help you open a ticket with Respondus so that they can get to the bottom of any issues that you may be having. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with Canvas here. So this is a Canvas student account. It's not a real student, so obviously we're not looking at anybody's personal information, but this is what your account will look like. Your Canvas dashboard when you come to it is going to look similar to this. Let's take a look over on the left-hand side. No matter where you go in Canvas, you will see what is called the global navigation bar. This blue bar on the left-hand side is always going to be here. And we're going to work our way through this bar here. And I'm going to start by clicking on the account menu. So when you click account, you'll see a slide out menu. And by the way, this is where you would log out. So if you are using Canvas on a public computer, I do recommend that you always log out before you leave, because you want to make sure that nobody else has access to your Canvas account. So we're going to start here with the profile link. And profiles are optional, but it is nice if you want to upload a profile picture of yourself or your dog or your parakeet or whatever it is that you want to represent you. It's nice, especially with fully online classes, for people to be able to kind of put a face with a name. So if you want to upload a picture, you can click on this Edit Profile Picture button and you can upload a picture. You could also create a little profile of yourself if you wanted to. Again, it's optional, and your classmates and professors will see your profile picture and your profile. So the next thing that I want to click on is notifications. Notifications are Canvas's way of keeping you up to date on all of the activity that is occurring in all of your courses. And these notifications will be sent to your Camden County College student email address. You can choose to also have them sent to a different email address, a personal email address if you would like, and I will show you that in just a moment. That's on a different screen. So notifications are important because if you're taking multiple classes, it may be hard to kind of keep up with everything that's going on in all of them. You can set individual custom notifications for individual courses, or you can just have all of the settings the same for all of your courses in your account. So when you look at course activities, what do I mean by that? So you can see a little description under each item of what that does. So for due dates, you would get a notification anytime there is an assignment due date change. So that's something that I might want to know about sooner rather than later if it's something I have a little bit more time to work on in an assignment. Over here on the right-hand side, you will see how often those notifications are going to come to you. And these are set for certain things by default by Canvas. So this particular one is set for a weekly summary. Now, if I have more time to work on an assignment, I might want to know that a little more promptly than a week. So you have other options here. You can change it to notify immediately. You can get a daily summary. It's currently set for weekly summary, or if it's something you're not concerned about, you can turn the notification off. I really like daily summaries. I have a lot of my notifications set for that because it will just send you one email towards the end of the day that has a summary of any activities that you have chosen to get a daily summary about. So it's just one email, but it's still pretty timely since it's just every day. If none of those activities happen that day, you won't get an email about it. Now, there are some that I do recommend leaving turned to notify immediately. Announcement is one of them because announcements sent out by your instructors are usually something that is a little bit time sensitive. So this would probably be a good one to have turned on to notify immediately. And then the other ones that I recommend leaving on are conversation, added to conversation and conversation message. That will send you a notification if you get an inbox message. And we'll talk in just a moment a little more about what the inbox is and what it does. But most instructors who are teaching online use the inbox as their main means of communication to individual students. So you probably will want to know sooner rather than later if your instructor has messaged you through the Canvas inbox. The other nice thing about having this turned on is that it will actually, it's not just going to give you a notification that you have a message, it will send you the message to your student email account. And you can actually hit reply right from there, and it will send a message to your instructor's inbox. So you can keep up with the conversation, know what's happening without even being logged into Canvas. But you can come here at any time and you can change your frequency, turn things off or on. So if you're getting too many notifications or not enough, you can always come here and tweak this. Now, as I said, this is a fake student account, so this is not a real email address, but you will see on your notifications that you've got your CCC student email address here. And I mentioned that you can also add a personal or work email address if you want to. And you'll see another column if you add another email address. So you'll have separate settings. So you could turn all of the notifications off for your student email account and have them all go to your personal email account if you want to. Again, still make sure that you do check your student email at least once or twice a week so that you're aware of anything else that's going on. But if you want to add another email address where you can have your notifications go, you can click on the settings link here. And again, we're still in our account menu. And over here on the right-hand side, you will see your student email address, and you can click this add email address link, and then you will be able to put whatever email address you would like to add in there. So that is our account menu. And so next we're going to click back onto our dashboard. So as I mentioned, there's an announcement here for this webinar that you're in right now. And when we have other webinars and when this video is available, it will be sent out as an announcement. Please make sure that you look at the announcements that are on your dashboard. Announcements are really e-learning's only way to communicate with the whole student body. So if we know that there's going to be a maintenance window, that Canvas is going to be down for a short period of time, where the portal is, or let's say we know that there's some kind of a glitch happening with one of the publishers, something that we need to make you aware of, this is where we will do it. So if you see a new announcement pop up on your dashboard, please don't just scroll past it. Please read it. Once you've read it, if you don't need it anymore, you can always click the X to get rid of it. But I think people get used to just sort of scrolling past the announcements and then miss out on important information. And you also will see over on the right-hand side is your to-do list. So this is going to be a combination of all of the upcoming items in all of your courses. And so if your instructor has assigned something to you with a due date, you will see it here. You will see when it is due, and you can click right on the link and it will take you right to that item in your course. So it's a great way to keep up with what's going on in your classes. However, please don't use this as the only way that you look at your assignments. You also will have your course calendar, which is a great way to keep up with everything that's coming up. You also will have a course to-do list. I think what may happen sometimes is that students may accidentally hit an X on some of these things without realizing it. And if the only place you're looking for what is coming up is this to-do list, you could miss out on something that you do need to do. The other thing you'll see is recent feedback. So if you have anything that's been graded and returned to you or returned to you with feedback, you will see that listed here as well. And of course, when a course is published and is live for you, you will see that on your Canvas dashboard. And you can access the course just by clicking on the course tile that's on your dashboard. Now, if you're ever looking for a course that you know should be there or you think should be there and it's not there yet, you can always make sure that it is in your Canvas account by clicking on the courses icon and then clicking all courses. So you will see at the top are your active courses. You will see past enrollments, meaning courses that have concluded, and you will also see future enrollments. So some instructors don't publish courses until the very first day of class. If you have courses that started today that are online, you should be seeing those on your Canvas dashboard at this point. If you are not, you can let me know in the chat and I can look into it for you and figure out what's going on. But if you have a course that we have 2 other sessions, we have one that starts next Monday, and then we have one that starts in the first week of February. So those ones you may not see on your dashboard yet, but you should still see them when you click courses and then all courses. That just means you are enrolled, they are in your Canvas account, but the instructor just has not made them live yet. So instructors have to publish their courses before you can access them. Now, if you come here and you see a course for whatever reason, sometimes a student is looking for a course. If I go back to my dashboard now, let's say that I have a course that I think is live, but I'm not seeing it on my dashboard. I can always add a course to my dashboard by clicking on courses, all courses, and you'll see the little star next to these courses. Now, those are there automatically because they are live. But if for some reason one that is live is not on your dashboard, you can come here and click the star to turn it orange, and it will add it to your dashboard. So if I want to take one off, I can come here and do that as well. Let's say that history course is done and it hasn't been taken off my dashboard automatically yet. I can do that by clicking that star. All right, the next item we want to look at is the calendar. So the Canvas calendar is actually a combination of calendars from all of your courses. Anytime an instructor has an assignment that they put a due date to and assign it to you, it's going to automatically show up on your dashboard. Now, you'll notice that over here on the right-hand side is a list of all of your courses that are active. And you'll see a little colored block next to each one. You'll notice that when I clicked on this one over here, this had a gray box next to it. If the box next to the course name is gray, that means that the items for that course are not showing up on your calendar. So you can click the little colored icon to have those items show up on your calendar. If you want to change a color, I don't really like the color black here. I want something that's a little bit brighter. So I'm going to go ahead and change it and click apply. And now you'll see that the items for that course have changed color. So the items are color coded so that you can see which items go with which course. So this is a great way to be able to keep up with everything that's coming up in all of your courses. You can actually click on the items right from the calendar and it will take you to a description of the assignment, the details, and then if you click on the title of the assignment at the top, it'll take you right to that assignment. So this is a great way to keep up with everything that your instructor has signed due dates to. You can also add an event yourself if you'd like, just by clicking on a date. And you can either create an event or add something to your to-do list for yourself. And this would be something that's only seen by you. All right, next let's go ahead and click on the inbox. The inbox is important because this is, as I mentioned earlier, most online instructors and many face-to-face instructors' main way of communicating with students. The inbox is what we call an internal messaging system. Sometimes instructors will mistakenly refer to the inbox as Canvas email. No judging, because I have said that myself many times mistakenly. But it can be a little confusing for students because sometimes they're looking for something called Canvas email, and there is nothing that's called that. So if you hear your instructor say that they want you to communicate with them via Canvas email, they mean the inbox. This isn't really an email system, so you could not email your grandma through the Canvas inbox unless your grandma happens to be in a course with you or one of your instructors. So you are only going to be able to use it to communicate with your instructors and classmates in your active courses. When you click on the inbox, you can see before you even click on it if you have any unread messages, because there will be this little number next to the inbox icon. And on the left-hand side, you will see a list of your messages. When you select a message, it will come up over on the right-hand side. You can filter so that you're only looking at messages from particular class. And you can compose a message by clicking on this pencil and paper icon up at the top. You would need to select the course that the person you are contacting is in. And you can click on the little address book if you're not sure of the person's name, or just type in a couple of letters. The rest of it does look much like what an email would. So you would put the subject, put the message. If you needed to add an attachment, you would click this paperclip icon down at the bottom and then click send. And as I mentioned earlier, as long as you have your notifications set to send inbox notifications to your CCC email account, you'll also get copies of any messages that are sent to the inbox sent to your email. I do recommend, since there are a couple of different ways that you can contact your instructors, look at the syllabus and just make sure that you know how they prefer to be contacted. All right, next we are going to click on Studio here. So Canvas Studio is a new feature for CCC. And so it is a place where faculty and students can create, upload, and store videos. So you'll find the studio icon in the global navigation bar here. And the nice thing about Studio is that it eliminates the upload limit for files. So if you don't upload to Studio, if you just do a media upload to an assignment, or just record a video discussion post without using Studio, you have a limit of 500 megabytes, and you also will use up your storage space. You only have 500 megs of storage space for videos as well. So you can use up that space really quickly with just 1 or 2 videos. Since this is new, instructors may or may not have directions yet or tell you to use Studio, but anytime you are asked to submit a video for any type of assignment, make sure that you do it through Studio. So when you click on Studio, you will see any videos that you have. This fake student doesn't have any videos yet. So you can do 2 things here. You can either upload a video that you've already created. So let's say that you're in a science class and you have to record a lab that you're in. You could have done that on your phone, and you can click on this add create button, and you can click add media, and then you can just browse files and find your video that you recorded and upload it into your library. Or from here, you can also create. So if you choose the Studio Capture option, it's going to ask for permission to use your webcam and microphone, and you will click start recording. So then it will record the video and you'll have it in your library. If you choose to use this Screencast-O-Matic option, this is going to also give you some capability to edit a video, but you will have to download. If you click on that, it's going to prompt you to download the Screencast-O-Matic software onto your computer. So that's up to you which one of those options you want to use. So if you click download, and then you'll need to go to your download folder and click on the screen capture application to install it, and then you'll have that available for you if you want to use that instead of just the Studio Capture option. So once you have your video saved in Studio, either created using the Studio Capture or Screencast-O-Matic or uploaded from your device, then you can submit it to either a discussion or an assignment. So let's say that the instructor has asked students to submit a video recording of themselves to a discussion. Click Reply underneath the discussion, and then click on this little, it looks like a cord. This is where any available apps are. Now, I've already used Studio here, so that's why Studio shows up, but you won't see it the very first time you go to use it. So you'll need to click View All, scroll down until you find Studio in the list of apps, click on it, and it's going to pull up your library. Select the video, leave both of these toggled off, and then click Embed Media down at the bottom. You could also, if you wanted to, just record right from here by clicking again on the apps, clicking Studio, and then clicking the Create button and choosing one of these two options, and then you can record it and it will embed it right into your discussion. So you can start in Studio or you can start in discussions and use the app either way. And then when you click Reply, it will embed that video right into your discussion. Just so you're aware, if you see any old directions, the old way to record a video to post to a discussion was to click on this Record Upload Media button and click Upload and Record Media. That would record you as well, but that again stores the video outside of Studio and that uses up your storage space. Now, if you have an assignment that you need to submit a video for, you're going to click Submit Assignment, or in this case, New Attempt, because this student has already submitted once. And you're going to click on the Studio option under Submission Type. And again, you'll see your videos in your library. Select the video that you want, click Embed Media, and then just click Submit Assignment. Now we're going to take a quick look at the Help menu, which is where you can go if you need help using Canvas or if you run into any issues. You can search the Canvas guides and you can type in a question that you have about how to use Canvas. And if it's something that's a common question or problem, any guides or tutorials that will answer that question will come up underneath the question that you asked, and you may be able to quickly find an answer to your question that way. But if you're having a problem, you need a little more help, the college is paid for the highest level of support that Canvas offers. So we have live 24/7, 365 Canvas support. So you have a couple of options. If you want to, you can do a chat with Canvas support. That's a live tech that you would just chat with. You could also, if you want to talk to someone, you can call the support hotline and speak to someone live, and they'll be able to help you out with any questions that you have. If there's something that is beyond what they can do and they need to reach out to us, we will get in e-learning, we'll get a message, and then we can also look into the issue as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I clicked on my course here. We're going to take a look at this Introduction to Geology course. So when you click on your course, you'll notice a couple of things. You're going to be taken to the course homepage. Now, this can look different depending on what your instructor is using as the homepage. This course uses the modules as the homepage, and we'll talk more in a minute about what modules are. You could also see your instructor's bio here, if that's what they've chosen to use. You might see a homepage your instructor has created with different buttons to click on to take you to the different parts of the course. It just depends, but you'll always see that your home, if you see the little line next to the home, as you go through the course navigation menu, you'll see that line next to the different areas of the course. You'll see if your instructor has sent out any recent announcements, you will see those at the top of your homepage, and you will see your course to-do list that goes down the right-hand side of the screen. So that's going to be just the items for this course that are coming up, as well as grades or feedback for this particular course. So as I mentioned, this course is using the modules as the homepage. So if I click on modules, this is going to stay here. The announcements are gone and the to-do lists are gone. But most of the time, the meat of the course is going to be housed in the modules. Modules are your instructor's way of organizing course content. So for most online courses, you're going to see some type of a orientation module, or it might say start here, it might say first day of course, something like that. And that is where you're going to find your important information like your syllabus for the course, a course timeline, tips on how to be successful. If it's a first day course, this is probably where you'll find your first day textbook instructions and so on. So make sure that you go over all the items that are in your course orientation or the first module so that you know all the important information to be successful in the course. So there's a few different types of items that you will see in a module, or that you may see depending on what your instructor is using. So if you see a little paper clip, it means that that is a file that your instructor has uploaded to the course. Files are going to be things like PowerPoints, PDFs, Word documents that your instructor has created and then uploaded into the course. Depending on the file type and how big the file is, you may see a preview in Canvas that you can access right there. But if you want to download a copy of the document, you can click the link in the upper left-hand corner, and that'll download a copy of it onto your device. Another type of item that you will see in most courses is going to be a page. Pages look like this little paper icon here. Page, if you see an embedded video that you click on, you can watch that without even leaving Canvas because it's embedded. Files and pages, those are the informational types of items. You may also see what looks like a link of chain, and that's going to be a link to an external website. And then, of course, you have your items that you will need to engage with. So this discussion topic, let's look at discussions first. So if you see your little conversation bubbles here, that means that it is a discussion. And instructors have the option, if they want to set 2 due dates for discussions. And if they do that, you'll see that here. So you may have to reply to the initial discussion post from your instructor by a certain date, and then reply to your classmates. And in this case, it's requiring 2 replies to classmates by February 7th. So that means that I have to type my initial response and then respond to 2 classmates. And these are my 2 separate due dates. So let's take a look at what this will look like. So when you pull up a discussion, you will see if there is a due date, you will see what the due date is listed. You also will see if it's a graded discussion, you will see how many points it is worth. And then you will read, generally your instructor will have a discussion prompt. So it will be something that they want you to write about. And you will make sure that you read everything that is expected of your response so that if it's graded, you can get full points. And then when you are ready, you will click reply. A lot of the time, your response is just going to be typed, and you will just type it into this box, and then you will click reply when you are ready. Just a tip here, this does not save as you go the way that a Word doc or Google Doc would do. So If you are typing a long response, I recommend typing it into a Word document first and then copy and paste your response into this box so that you don't lose it if something happens. If your laptop battery dies right before you click reply, that unfortunately is probably going to be lost. So just a word to the wise, type it somewhere you can save and then just copy it and paste it into the box. Now, if you are in a course that your instructor is asking you to record a video, this is again where you're going to want to use Studio. So once you have typed your response, you'll click reply. Some instructors will have their settings so that you will not see anybody else's replies until you have posted yourself. So that is just depending on what the settings are that your instructor has set. All right, so that's discussions. And just a quick tip, discussions usually are one of the easier ways to earn full points in a course. If you just look at what your instructor is asking you to do and do it, that's usually not a very difficult way to get full points on an assignment. So speaking of assignments, let's go ahead and take a look at an assignment. And you'll be able to tell if it's an assignment if you see the little pencil and paper icon next to it. So discussions are meant to be seen by your instructor as well as your classmates, whereas assignments, unless it's a group assignment, you are the only person that will see what you have submitted. So when you click on an assignment, make sure that you look at any resources that your instructor has provided for you. You would want to click on any links, look at any rubrics that your instructor has added so you know what you're being graded on. And also just read what your instructor is expecting you to do so that you know how to get full points on the assignment. If it's a video, again, that your instructor is wanting you to upload, make sure that you always use the studio option so that you don't have those file limitations that you would have if you're not using. If you just did it like this and clicked here and uploaded your video file, you're going to have those file limitations. Those are only removed if you're uploading directly to Studio. Now, if it's just a file, like not a video file, you can just use the Rocket. So this Studio is just for videos. So I'm going to choose my file here. Let's just pick a random file. I double clicked on it. I can see the name of my file and I can click Submit Assignment. Now, if you click this More option here, we have two apps in here right now. Every student has a free Microsoft 365 account, and that comes with your email. It also has Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and so on. If you're not sure how to access this, you can contact the help desk and they'll be able to help you get access to it. For right now, I would recommend just downloading any file that you have to upload, download it from Office 365 on your computer, and then upload it to the assignment. You can also upload, if there's other types of files that your instructor wants, they will have that information for you in the assignment details. So once you have, I have my file here, and now I can click Submit Assignment. And when an assignment is turned in on time, you will see a little confetti shower to let you know that it is on time. Now notice that this particular assignment is due February 23rd. It's available until February 25th. So this assignment you could submit late. If the available date is after the due date, that means that you could turn it in late, but your instructor will be notified that it is late, and they can have it set up to automatically deduct points for every day or even every hour an assignment is late. So always try to make sure that you are getting your assignment in by that due date. The other word to the wise, if it's due at 11:59 p.m., please don't wait until 11:30 p.m. to start working on it. If you do run into a problem and it's at 11:30 at night, there's not going to be anybody on campus from e-learning to be able to help you at that time. You can always contact Canvas support, but if you miss the deadline and the assignment closes, Canvas support can't help you with that. And honestly, neither can we. Your instructor is going to have to decide whether or not they want to reopen an assignment for you. So that's not to scare you, but just make sure that you give yourself time so that if you do run into some type of technical issue, you have a little room for error and have time to get it resolved before that due date comes around. All right, so the very last thing that I want to just show you quickly, if you see a item with a rocket next to it, it means that that is a quiz. Now, Canvas calls all test-like assessments quizzes. So it could be a 5-point quiz, it could be a final exam. Canvas is going to call it a quiz. So don't let that term confuse you. But when you click on a quiz, you will see when it's due and when it's available. So again, this one, the due date and available date are the same. So you would not be able to even, you won't even see the take the quiz button after that available date. You'll see how many points there are, how many questions there are, and if there's a time limit, how much time you have. So keep in mind, if there was 5 questions in 5 minutes, I know I've got roughly about a minute per question. And in this case, there's 3 allowed attempts. So some instructors, you may for a quiz have more than one try, but just make sure that you read all of this information before you go into it and make sure that you have time to complete the quiz after you click take the quiz. When you click take the quiz, even if you have time left when you close out of Canvas, it's still going to automatically submit. So you're not going to be able to come back to it and continue. And I see this is February 16th at 11:59 p.m. Let's say I have an hour to take the quiz. If I don't start it until 11:30 p.m., I'm not going to have an hour. I'm only going to have 29 minutes because it's going to automatically submit my quiz when that availability date comes around. So just make sure that you give yourself time, plenty of time to get it done, and also especially for your earlier quizzes and the ones if you're using Lockdown Browser, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time in case you need some help or support from us or from your instructor. All right, so I know that was a lot of information, but I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found the presentation to be useful, and I hope you have a great day and a wonderful semester.